No, I was just checking whether Vishnu sir has taught him or not. So he has been your teacher, right?
Yes.
Okay. So are you nervous, like in his presence?
No.
Okay. Quite an elaborate presentation, and very happy to know that the industrial township in Hajipur is not only making money but also is socially sensitive. But having said that, a major part of your presentation was into the business model of the business that they are doing and the revenue that they are generating. And you only used one slide, that of Coca-Cola, to talk about the CSR intervention. So just in half a minute, if you can expand upon what are the other organizations they are doing in terms of their CSR interventions, like Britannia, Kurkure and others. If you have any input on them, so if you can just...
No, actually, as a corporate social responsibility, this is part of BIADA also, that BIADA is also responsible for society. So developing industry is our responsibility, and we are developing industries, we are creating employment, so it goes to society only. So as a corporate, BIADA is also doing social responsibility. And coming to Britannia and other industries, Britannia has their own trust and NGOs and also tie up with another NGOs. So they are delivering 2% of, as per our Companies Act, 2% of their revenue to those CSR activity only. So all the industries whose revenue is more than 1,000 crore in a year, they all are indulged in CSR activity in a local area or in all Bihar.
Just by the nature of their registration under the Companies Act, they are bound to do the CSR. Even if you don't tell it to them, they have to.
Third company, Sankat Mochan Poly Products. That is a small level company, but still he is also indulged in
So any specific CSR intervention of any of these units that you would like to speak about, apart from the Coca-Cola work that Coca-Cola is doing?
Okay. So when I joined BIADA and I posted in Hajipur, there was a lack of plantation and a lot of dust was there. So in 2023 to 2024, I have planted more than 2,000 trees. So this is completely from BIADA side. So this was complete responsibility, BIADA was completely responsible for this. So we have planted 2,000 trees, and all the plants were developed plant, matured plant which was planted. So within a year or 1.5 years, they have grown sufficiently and complete look of cluster has changed. And similarly, I have planted approximately 1,000 plants in Gopalganj and 250 plants in Siwan. So all the industrial areas now looking slush green within a 1.5 year.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Anand, you are not into academics directly, so you are basically a practitioner, so your presentation was of that kind, not very structured as we expect in conferences. But then again, same point, sir had a different point, and my question was different, which you have answered. His point was that apart from Coca-Cola, do you have any other example in mind which you can share with the audience? And my question was what BIADA has done, so you have told that you as a...
apart from BIADA,
yeah.
Sankat Mochan Poly Product is in cooperation with Rotary Club of India.
Okay.
They plant approximately 1,000 trees every year, not any particular year. Every year they plant. They provide educational facility to 50 students, deprived category students. So 50 students every year, and also they have their own tie-up with the NGOs.
Yeah.
So they are providing such facility, education, health, and food facility to those companies also. BIADA every month distributes packets of biscuits to deprived societies, to students in different schools and all.
My point is that as BIADA, you have allocated land, and so you might be collecting the lease rentals and other things. Do you have any say in their CSR activities, any role that you people play, your organization plays?
No, currently as an corporate, there is no a specific dedicated segment, but along with our regular duty, we are involved in social activities.
You as BIADA is involved. Whether
Yes.
corporates are doing it properly or not, you actually you do not go for that kind of monitoring or that kind of proactive engagement with
No,
them.
not directly.
Fine. That's what I wanted to know. Okay.
But we can motivate them, and we are.
Definitely. So thank you, Anand, for your presentation. With this, we have come to the end of this session. Yeah. So,
how BIADA is contributing in achieving this inequality, which is SDG 10 and sustainable consumption and production. Because, sir, question पहले सुन लीजिए सर. बिहार में हमने देखा है कि बिहार एक पायनियर स्टेट है इथेनॉल फैक्ट्री को लेकर. इथेनॉल की फैक्ट्री यहाँ पे सेटअप हुआ है. इथेनॉल के जो अनट्रीटेड वेस्ट है वो डायरेक्टली जाता है खेतों में. उससे सॉइल की फर्टिलिटी लूज हो रही है, जिससे इनकम डिक्रीज हो रहा है. फूड मार्केट में इन्फ्लेशन आ रहा है क्योंकि डायरेक्टली फूड ग्रेन से इथेनॉल प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है. सेकंड थिंग, पेप्सी और कोको कोला को आपने मेंशन किया सिर्फ 2% रेवेन्यू का देते हैं और बिहार की पानी को एक्सट्रैक्ट करते हैं, उन्हें उन राज्यों से निकाला जा रहा है जहाँ पे पानी डिप्लीट हो रहा है. तो आप कैसे मतलब इसको आप देख रहे हैं कि हम इनइक्वालिटी रिड्यूस, क्योंकि एक तरह से इनइक्वालिटी ये इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, ग्रोथ और डेवलपमेंट में जो गैप होता है उसको कैसे आप मैनेज कर रहे हैं?
करेक्ट. तो इसमें हम लोग ऐसे है कि बियाडा जो है डायरेक्ट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी में नहीं आती है, वो इनडायरेक्ट आती है. और इनडायरेक्ट कैसे आ रही है मैं वो आपको एक्सप्लेन कर दे रहा हूँ. जैसे थोड़ा सा इनका आंसर मैं दे देता हूँ सर. हाँ, तो इनका क्या है कि जैसे
panel discussion.
Yes.
For BIADA, there will be lots of questions I can also understand. Okay, so thank you all the presenters.
So,
It's your prerogative.
thank you,
please.
sir. Now, on behalf of CIMP, I would request Professor Dr. Sriranga Vishnu, sir, Assistant Professor CIMP, to present a memento as a token of our sincere appreciation and deep gratitude to Dr. R.S. Rahman, sir. Sir, to present a memento as a token of our sincere appreciation and deep gratitude to Anand Kumar, sir.
From BIADA.
I will like to now call esteemed panel members to join us on the stage. It's an honor to host such a diverse group of experts. So I like to call Mr. Rafa Hussain sir, Dr. Razdan Rahman sir, Mr. Rajiv Kumar sir, Mr. Abhishek Kishore sir, Mr. Hari Om Misra sir, Dr. Utsav Kumar Singh sir, and Mr. Anand Kumar Singh sir. I request all the panel members to please take your seats. It's a great honor and privilege to listen to you all.
Statistics, Patna University, joining us for the panel discussion, please.
So this session promises to be an enriching dialogue and how collaboration drives CSR impacts. I now hand over the proceeding to Professor Mamta Singh to take the discussion forwards. Over to you, Professor. Thank you.
And I would request
Good afternoon, ma'am. Guys,
all the participants
you already have a
to
break.
listen carefully, because I would request you to ask the question. You would not get such kind of panel members again. So listen carefully and ask the questions whatsoever actually arise in your mind. So once again, a very good afternoon. On our road to Viksit Bharat, CSR plays a significant role. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you in this very important discussion on CSR, stakeholders engagement and collaboration. For a long time, CSR has been seen as a responsibility, but now today it has become an opportunity to create shared value, to create long-term impact and inclusive growth. But CSR succeeds only when we move beyond intent, when communities are not beneficiaries but the stakeholder, and when the institution don't work in silos but collaborate. So our focus today is simple yet powerful. How do we move from good intention to meaningful collaboration? Let me again once introduce my panel members. Mr. Rafai Hussain from Aga Khan Foundation, bringing global development and community-centric CSR insight. Dr. Razdan Rahman, very good afternoon, sir. From TIS Guwahati, offering an academic and policy lens on social system. Mr. Rajiv Kumar, very good afternoon. From UNICEF with the extensive experience in community and child-focused intervention. Mr. Abhishek Ranjan, he is yet to join. Mr. Abhishek Kishore, Mr. Abhishek Kishore from ANK Foundation, he is grounding us in the grassroots execution. Now Mr. Hariom Mishra from GEAPP, linking CSR with the climate action and clean energy. Dr. Utsav Kumar Singh. Okay, very good afternoon, sir. From Georgia State University, offering international and research-driven perspective. And Mr. Anand Singh from BIADA, our own alumni, bringing the perspective of Bihar's industrial development and enabling CSR aligned with the state growth priorities. And we have one more invitee, who's Dr. Parmeet from Patna University. A big hand of applause to all the panel members. Now let's start the discussion. And the first question I would really wanted to ask, that what does meaningful stakeholder engagement really mean in your work? And where do most organizations misunderstand this? No? So I would request Mr. Rajiv to start with.
It's working. Thank you so much, Professor Mamta, and welcome all the colleagues. So I guess two questions that you asked. So yesterday, I'll making it little contextual, so it should not look like that I am saying it. None less than father of CSR in India, Mr. Chatterjee yesterday said that about this particular place where we are sitting, and good to see that student is also there, people from various organizations, including the university is there. We told that, there's a big perception issue, and perception is out of two things. So when we say that stakeholders, so one that, one of my seniors sitting besides me on the left hand, so the agencies who is, or the implementer, or someone who holds CSR 1 in the CSR perspective, who are eligible to get the project and implement the project. But unfortunately, the agencies who are, and some of the representative I can see in the audience, those who are homegrown, meaning those who are started in Bihar, operating in Bihar, their acceptability out there is not there. What today we call in the context of Bihar the CSR. BIADA representative is there. Tomorrow we'll have a lot of industry, so possibly we'll have slightly more footing. But for now, the stakeholder, so this lacks. So the agency who are here and meaningfully wants to get engaged, or who are community based, is not there for now. So I think that is one of the area that we all have to work along with the agencies like Aga Khan Foundation, who have a long history, who have presence outside, and they are also able to talk to the corporates or those who are deciding on the CSR at those places. So that's the initial response in terms of the stakeholder.
Very, very wonderful, sir. So would you like to add, sir?
Yes, thanks, Professor Mamta and Rajiv. And thanks CIMP for organizing this workshop and inviting us. Again, to set the context, when we are talking about corporate social responsibilities, we are talking about corporates. And corporates are there, and we say that those are profit-making institutions.
Yes.
And in the changes in the Companies Act, the government brought them responsibilities to a society. And we call it corporate social responsibility. On the other hand, we are linking CSR to Sustainable Development Goals. So what is Sustainable Development Goal? Since there are students sitting here and they all must be knowing about it. But before Sustainable Development Goals, there were other goals also, Millennium Development Goals, Health for All by 2000. And since the inception of United Nations, all these goals were ratified by national governments, that these goals have to be achieved nationally and internationally. I'm not going into the details, but when we have set for ourselves certain goals to achieve within a given timeline, we have to work towards it. And the primary responsibility of achieving those goals belongs to the government of the country, government of the states. But not just of the government. There are public responsibilities and there are private responsibilities also. Government cannot achieve those goals without the participation of private stakeholders. But private stakeholders doesn't mean that only profit-making corporate. There are other stakeholders like NGOs, like other organizations who are not profit-making. And there are other stakeholders like communities themselves. Why I'm talking about it is when G20 was happening in India, India was the youngest country amongst all the G20 countries. And within India, Bihar is the youngest state, meaning that Bihar has the most number of people who are young. So if we have to achieve Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, India has to achieve those goals, only then the world will achieve it. And if India has to achieve those goals, Bihar first has to achieve those goals, only then the world will achieve Sustainable Development Goal by the year 2030. And as we have seen that Bihar has been on the development paradigm, and we all have to contribute. So it's a good time to talk about CSR and Sustainable Development Goals. But there are other dynamics to it. So I'll talk about it later. Yes. Over to you, Mama.
So definitely, we will definitely talk about it. From the academic perspective, do you want to add, like how the organization misunderstand this?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for having me on this panel. And I'm grateful to the CIMP for organizing this event. So, coming on I'm just starting from the sir's purview that we need a accountable institution to channelize the things, because we all are sharing a common concern that betterment of the people, upliftment of the people, and for that we need an accountable local governments also, because our challenges differ from place to place. Our geography is very differ from the place to place. So our local aspirations, our demands are also differ. So we need to align this SDGs goals, because for me SDG is a means to serve the development destination, that is the people well-being. So if we align this CSR thing with the SDG goals, then we can to some extent we are able to achieve these goals, because with the pace, with the today's pace, we are not going to achieve this sustainable development goal. We already passed the half of the sustainable goals time, and I think only 17% goals are achieved right now. And for improving this thing, the main thing which we have to balancing we have to make balance between the growth and development. Bihar is focusing more on growth. Bihar is establishing factories just like the ethanol factory. Bihar is establishing factories like the Coca-Cola factory, which is which is not very well much doing with the development things. So, for me, to achieve the sustainable development goals, the localization of policy is very important. To localize the policy, we need a strong and effective local government. And for effective and local government, we have to give certain degree of autonomy, varying degree of autonomy to the local governments, so that we can align with this CSR with the local governments. Thank you, ma'am.
Here I would like to add something. Madam.
Yes, please.
If we talk about a stakeholder in CSR, so in my view, everyone sitting here is a stakeholder. Either a students, common people, organization, NGO, in organization, private organization, government organization, everyone is a stakeholder. Yesterday there was a presentation that was very good presentation about this for a stakeholder. In that presentation, in every demand, even if we assume that CSR is a demand, so in every demand works in two ways. Either it is push demand or it is pull demand. So push demand here working as governance norms. So government has created norms that everyone who is exceeding revenue of 1,000 crores and profit of 100 crores, so they must have to do 2% of CSR. So this is push demand for CSR, corporate social responsibility. But if any student goes in market and they choose two options on the basis of how much CSR is being done by that two companies. So if any company is indulged in CSR and other one is not, and that a student is choosing the product which is indulged in CSR, so that is pull demand. So consumer is automatically inclining towards CSR. So if such case happens, automatically every organization will turn to CSR, even whether it is complying government norms or not. Even if they are much below to that norms or that scale, they would, because they know that even if I don't suffice the criteria of CSR, but if I do not involve myself in CSR, then people may reject my product and my profitability will be hampered. So everyone sitting here, either they are related to organization or they are individual, everyone is a stakeholder. What is the basic definition of a stakeholder? A stakeholder who has impact of that activity. So everyone has the impact. Either they have their impact or they are creating impact. So everyone is a stakeholder.
Okay. So yes, everyone is stakeholder, but still sometimes we have many at a time we have seen that the CSR collaborations fails as well. This is just because of the decision-making power which is actually having with the funder, and the execution risk is with the NGOs and with the communities. So how can this imbalance will be corrected, or what can your suggestion be to correct this very imbalance wherein decision-making authority is someone else and implementation authority is somebody else?
Failure of any decision, whether it is related to CSR or anything, it completely depends on decision making. Whether decision is taken by that leader of that NGO or any employee on ground. So it depends on various matters. So meager failure of any particular NGO or any certain organization, it doesn't mean that CSR is completely failed. So yes, it is going ahead. Some failures are there, but some good works are also there. So we must be optimistic in this case.
So I would like to Abhishek ji to throw some light on it, as he is working for this very cause.
Can you just repeat the question?
So I said that sometimes CSR collaborations fails. It is not because of the intent. It is because of the decision-making authority which lies with the funder. So what can be done so that this needs to be corrected without losing the accountability?
Yeah. So I think the ethos of CSR is not just about funding. Let's go back, when CSR law came in the country, the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said that CSR is not philanthropy, it's not charity, but it's a collective investment for the future of the country. So the very fact that corporates are seen that we are carrying with some cash bag and we are only funder, that whole thing has gone away with the CSR law, right? CSR is no longer about just cutting a check for some philanthropic work. It's about how do you design the program, how do you own the program, how do you actually go in every stage of the project along with your implementation partner, right? And most of the time the trust, what I see, right? Okay, last 1 week I was in the US, I spent time at the UN headquarters since I'm on the board of the UN Global Compact. What I see that the trust factor between the non-profit and the profit world in India is very deficit. And that's not in the other parts of the world like Europe and etc., right? Because the very fact that if you look at in US, corporates give money and non-profit executes it. And there's a trust, there's a complete trust. Yes. Nobody asks questions, right? Most of the development work in Europe, etc., happens through the non-profit route.
That's
right?
what my question was.
Yeah, but yes. See, who are the people who are working in non-profit? I have friends here, some of them, who are very passionate, one person NGO, one person leading, right? Now, how can you marry an institution like a corporate with a single person owning NGO? Both has to be an organization by itself. So many times when the NGOs approaches us for corporate funding, we look at who are the people behind it, who are the kind of pedagogy they have in the past of what experience we have. Just the intent is not enough. So what I say always, whatever intent you have, put it in a content and then come to us for any proposal form to get the funding. Don't look at us as the corporate funders, right? Right. See, if I have an authority to give money I am the managing trustee of my company's foundation, right? But the point is not that. Right? I have other trustees also. I have other people in my company. But how will I decide on funding between, let's say, 5 NGOs are present here? I will look at who has really willing to work in collaboration, in a co-ownership. Right? If you are not giving me the co-ownership, you are not willing to listen to me after I give you the money. Why should I give you the money? You think that when money is given, the money has exchanged the hands, my job is over? That's not the way, right? So that's a discontent from both sides happens, right? So one of the things which I have really seen, how working in the other countries is a lot of people from business actually sit on the board of NGOs, right? I never get invited by any non-profit to come and give me consulting, a free consulting, which I think, so NGOs should not look at corporate just for money. There's so much of talent, so much of skill, so much of free softwares I can give you, free technology I can give you, right? But if you only look me like, you're only looking at my wallet, then, sometimes it's kind of discomfort to people like us, yeah.
Very right. Okay, now coming back to the community. So what role do you think a community can play here?
Thank you, madam, for the opportunity.
Any practical steps which can actually ensure? You can have this one.
So, for any CSR initiative, whenever we plan any CSR initiative, the first thing which we do is we do a need assessment or baseline assessment. In that baseline assessment, we define who are our stakeholders for that particular project. The stakeholders might differ from project to project. We have altogether different stakeholders if we are doing a skill development project, and we have altogether different stakeholders when we are doing some project for government schools or government Anganwadi. So communities, all the CSR initiatives are generally for the community. So communities are part of the CSR initiative. So during our need assessment or baseline assessment, we define the stakeholders and which are the key areas, which are the risk, where are the risks, so and how, and the risk mitigation methods. We all, in our project proposal, we all propose to our corporate donors that what are the risks and how we will overcome that risk. So communities, corporates, NGOs, sometimes government, these four generally they make the stakeholders, and we have to do the project successfully. We have to collaborate among all these stakeholders.
As the discussion is progressing, it's getting interesting. That's what I said. When we look at CSR from just what he just said, from just the money point of view, actually we are having a very narrow perspective on it. We have to have a broader perspective of CSR and link it to SDG. It is even broader. Any smallest corporate who is doing CSR, they should not think, as he rightly said, that NGOs should also not look at CSR only for their money. CSR also should not be seen as just money-giving exercise by the corporates. They also have responsibilities within their own businesses also, like what Anandji was presenting, that they are recycling their waste material. That's also one responsibility that they're doing. The social responsibility is not just social, it is also economic responsibility. It is also environmental responsibilities. And those responsibilities have to come into their day-to-day functioning. What kind of carbon footprint they are generating through their work. So if we look at it, all stakeholders, if we look at CSR or social, economic and environmental responsibilities in a broader perspective, then there are many other dynamics comes in, and we all have to work together, as rightly said, to achieve those goals. And without that perspective, I don't think we will be able to achieve that. So we have to build that perspective, and I guess through these kind of workshops, we would be able to build that perspective. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So a few years back, we actually brought 40 of the CSR heads who were originally from Bihar or Jharkhand, and created a group called BIJ, BI for Bihar and J for Jharkhand. And BIJ in Hindi also sounds very interesting. So problem is, we have to build our brand equity of the state. I'm also from Patna. When I talk to my people, everybody out of the 10 of them I requested to spend CSR in Bihar, they had bad experiences in reporting, including me. I also invested a project in Gopalganj and also in few other districts here. Now, how do we course correct that? Because, I can take the bad brand, bad press, because I am from this state. I can digest that. Right? But if I am asking somebody who's originally from Tamil Nadu or some other place, they have not experienced this kind of thing, they will never come back. So if we have a but also I've seen that programs like Jivika, programs like the bicycle donation, which state-run program has a global calling, right? How do we actually, institutions like CIMP or likewise, can create a model and give us surety? Hey, if I come to you guys, you will execute it, you will make it impactful, and then we don't have to, take the risk. Bihar is the least CSR funder in a big state. Okay? And we are like 1/10 of Jharkhand, maybe 1/50th of Jharkhand, what Jharkhand receives CSR fund. That's a state. And you know how many people from Bihar works in NGO sector, CSR sector? I think we will be either equal to people from Odisha, and Bihar and Odisha, Jharkhand are the people who actually in the largest in the development sector. I'm sure most of us will agree on this panel, right? Because I almost like I spent 100 days traveling across India, understanding the landscape. So this is the problem, ma'am. Until unless something in Bihar comes up and stood up and say, we will take care of every of a headache, right? Because one is the giving the money, right? The problem starts after that for me or for my team. Who will give my reports? Maybe you missed the one, fund utilization report. My, finance team will start, doubting a lot of things. So that's a fear why Bihar is not receiving a CSR fund. We should do something collectively and create an organization which say, no, whatever it may take, I will take care of this, all your headaches.
Very right. So Dr. Rahman, do you want to put some light again on the same topic?
No, actually as a teacher I talk a lot. So this is one of those rare occasions when I'm like all ears and listening to my fellow colleague, panelist, Mr. Abhishek, and Rafe as well. So the university which I'm representing here, TISS, so I'm actually affiliated with the Center for Social Entrepreneurship there. And though my grounding is not from entrepreneurship, it is only through job I learned about the entrepreneurship and the theoretical aspect of it as well. And one of the realizations that we are making ever since the CSR Companies Act 2013 came into being, that how it has like reimagined itself to answer the call of the development sector and the beneficiaries, just to keep the beneficiaries at the center of it. I'll just like to bring one non-related instance to bring home a point. So there is a friend of mine in Bombay, where that his campus is. He's actually a small-time filmmaker, and he's more like a storyteller and a director. But he does not get a producer. There has to be someone to produce a movie. So after some time, he crowdfunded and developed generated some money, and he actually became a producer. And he said that if I have to tell my story in my own way, I have to become the producer. The point that I'm trying to make here is, which Abhishek is rightly talking about, that when the ideas and the thoughts are not matching with each other, where the CSR, the corporate has something in its mind, and the NGO which is coming to get that support is having some other agenda, and if the alignment is not meeting with each other. So that is the reason why the state that I am working right now, Assam, which has like lot of PSUs which are actively into the CSR, and they are doing quite a good job out of it, because they are reinventing themselves. An important aspect of that is that when the stakeholding comes, when the consultation comes, they bring the NGO people on board as well. And many a times we have seen that they are developing their own competency in-house, how to work for the people directly, rather than inviting a third party or a second party to do that. But having said that, there are certain sectors where they are seeing that the NGO is also carrying that kind of an expertise, more so in terms of community engagement, where they understand the reality of the community in a better way than the corporate. Again, it's like a very tight rope to walk on. In many instances, as Dr. Singh was also talking about, that there are certain corporate houses which are doing something which is not going as per the local ecology is concerned. He was very politically incorrect to take the name of one of the beverage company which is extracting water, and then it is saying that we are also doing good for the people. So it is just like you are like playing the double game of this. So how do we then look into those problems and understanding? Academia is an important stakeholder in this, because we are also generating the human resource who are contributing to both the CSR as well as the NGO. And then there are two friends from the same batch who is working in an CSR, and the other classmate who is working in the NGO, and they are both like, since they have learned it together, so they are more at on a level playing terms. And that is where we are also trying to see to it that how they all can come on the same page and things. Again, issues like DEI, ESG and things. Corporate, they have their own view and ways. NGOs, they have their own views and ways. Another important stakeholder that is germinating and is sprouting quite fine is the accelerators and the startups and the innovators. 12 years or so, when the CSR has come, in these 12 years, only 0.2% of it, I may be wrong with the figure, is the CSR funding is going for these startups and all. Again, a point that I wanted to add to his, I'm not contesting with him, but I'd like to bring it on the discussion board, that these startups, they want money. They have fantabulous ideas, and one of the reasons why India does not become a knowledge economy, because the startups, they always fear the failure. In the knowledge economy, the money is coming like anything. Here we have those corporates which are also like being very conservative in giving the money to those startups because they believe it so. There can be some kind of a mistrust as well. That what if we give the money and the money is being used for some other purposes rather than for innovation and things. So yeah, so first is that we have to list the stakeholders, which are the emerging players and which are the emerging ideas, who will come forward to support them. Does the responsibility come on the corporates because they are making money? Does the responsibility come on the Sarkar, which is not making the money but is having some sources at its disposal? So yeah, I'm coming here more with the problems rather than the solutions, but that is how it is.
Yes, so you want to add, please?
Yeah, here I want to add something, ma'am. So startup needs money, people needs demand, and government also want demands. So what is in between that? There is a concept in our literature, economics literature, the asymmetric information. So without having the proper knowledge of the local condition, local circumstances, local demand, local aspiration, if anybody is coming to invest money in any particular area, that would not going to be feasible, and so that's why the CSR is failing.
Point you said about the startup funding. See, CSR, when you give money, and especially any project which is more than 1 crore, you have to do impact assessment. In a startup, you can't be sure about the impact, right? I mean, it can go haywire. And also, there is only limitations because you have to only give it to the approved DST, startup. I work with a lot of startups, and I've been a part of a lot of conversation. The challenge is that, why this is very minuscule, not 17%, actually, will be in a very single digit, is because, there is a lot of risk associated with it. No, I think everything tying with CSR, which is a $3 to $4 billion in an economy of 2 to 3 trillion, you are like talking about like, small drop in the ocean. All put together, CSR is $3 to $4 billion. That's it. Right? And if you want like, isse pura dunya badal denge, I think aisa hoga nahi. So the point is that until unless, I think somebody very rightly said, I think before me, that if you do an impact in Bihar, it actually will have very profound impact in the national index of SDG or the global index, because the impact out here will be profound than I'm giving in Karnataka or Telangana or somewhere, because you are just taking out of people, right? And which are the SDGs actually improved, because we track it in the UN. If you look at extreme poverty, we have done extremely well. If you look at malnutrition, our child mortality rate, right? All of this have really done phenomenal. And where are these states from? The state like Bihar state. So the governments have done a good job. And in every conversation, when you hear our prime ministers or leaders saying that until these states develop, we can't be calling ourselves a developed nation. And that's why I'm saying that we should not just end the dialogue here. Give us a solution. Problems are plenty. Let's find a solution by end of this, that what can CIMP or anybody here can tell me that, Abhishek, I can guarantee you that your money will be all used properly. Give me in writing that the certificate will be issued, whatever we need, and you see if money will start flowing. यही बिहारी लोग जाके दूसरे कंपनियों में दूसरे स्टेट में इतना CSR कर रहे हैं. Why can't we do in Bihar?
मेरा क्वेश्चन यहाँ आपसे ये है कि हम हमेशा CSR को we often actually judge it through the impact assessment. We count the beneficiaries, we count that what changes in numbers, no? So what about the long-term association? What about the trust which the people are building? What about the changes, long-term changes, which is actually coming to those very states, about which you are talking? कि कोई लिख के दे दे तो बिहार में फंड ही फंड आ जाए.
नहीं, I mean, देखो सब कुछ लिखित ही है ना. It's a part of constitution. It's a part of our laws, right? So it's not something. It's unwritten rule, right? It's a written rule passed by parliament. So you have to follow the protocols and process. It's not me saying it. This is the government of India dictates us, right? What can you do in CSR? Where you can give? How can you give? If you spend more than 1 crore.
It should only be evaluated in numbers.
That's, you know, I mean, whatever you put as a KPIs, it's not just a number. Yeah.
Yes.
यहाँ पर
Hello. Yeah. Yesterday, Bhaskar Chatterjee was saying that any CSR is, what is CSR project? Any project which is in project form, which has measurable impact, that is only CSR project. So anything which is not measurable is not a CSR project. So that is why all the awareness related project, all the, those type of projects, they do not form a CSR project. So CSR project is typically those project only, anything which we can do as per Schedule 7, and under Schedule 7 everything can be done. So anything which is in project form and that has measurable impact, so that is only CSR.
Okay, you want to add something?
After some of the problems, let's look at the solution, and let's look at the parallel. I think the NGO sector, which I also represent, we ourselves put into more scrutiny than any other sector. And when the CSR as in function within the corporate are also looked at with a very different scrutiny than the other management functions. And I'll give you an example to put that. Say Tata Nano plant. It was not the CSR era, but even in those era, you had entry point activities, as all corporates had, so that at least you have a sanction from the community that yes, you will operate. And when I say community, is in very, very broad sense. So I am sure a so-called equivalent of CSR manager at that time would have been very successful to get the plant started, right? But there was agitation. Plant was to be, literally transported to another state. But even after all those strategies, etc., Nano never took off. Now I'll give the same thing, but we never construed that CSR is not working, it did not work, so here it didn't work, that didn't work. So I think CSR as in function, just to tell you, Abhishek, is being put in a far stricter scrutiny than many other functions of the corporate. And then I'll come to other examples. As far as the Bihar, Jharkhand, either people who have origin from here, studied there, and then the group, I think one of the solution is that one has to take a leap of faith. As you know that even, the one corporate have many, many verticals. I'm not saying that one particular industry, but many industries. Some work, some doesn't work. But they keep on investing multi-cycle. But if you think that in one cycle, one nondescript NGO, and I'll give you 3 at least corporate foundation, which was initially recommended is panacea to all the ills which so-called development sector or NGO sector had. It was thought that, okay, with a very good management system, accounting system, we'll put up corporate foundations and they will do really, really good. To tell you, and I'm telling with a lot of responsibility, and that's why I can afford to name, Ajim Premji Foundation came here in Bihar at least 15 years back. They were not successful. And because why they were not successful, they were not ready to invest multi-cycle. The friend next to you sitting here, Tata Institute of Social Science, came here to set up a center. It was not successful. And the blame cannot be entirely on the Tata Institute or entirely on the government. Because it's not that the Tata Institute, when proliferated from Mumbai to other states, they did not have issue. I'll give you example only 4 or 5 weeks back. Adani Foundation announced that they want a CSR manager to be there in Bhagalpur. Because Adani has to do the business here, so they took a leap of faith that, okay, I'll put up a CSR here, and they think that they will invest multi-cycle as they will be investing in the setting up power plant in the Tirupati. Not many of us know, even the smaller corporates, like say, I have listed because last year I was doing some research for this particular conference, and I was trying to look at the people. So if you go and talk to the people from Bihar and Jharkhand in Wellspun, they'll tell nothing works in Bihar. But when they have a bridge to be constructed, I talked to the person, they said, yes, they were working the CSR. I said, please come and join. They said, ki, nahi boss, abhi to nahi join kar sakte. So it's about that when you are forced. So that's what I'm saying, that even those people who have origin and they are now the leaders, they have to take leap of faith. For God's sake, at least my last count says 20 global universities and their affiliate organizations are working with Jivika. What stops corporates coming and working with the same institution which has been tom-tommed for there and tom-tommed for good reason, what I'm saying, the cycle program or any program that you are talking. So I think we also got to, the institution that we are sitting, to imagine that 20 years back, could you think of? Or could you think of that you will come and an institution will hold 5th consecutive international conference on the issue which is not very often talked, CSR. So I think one that which I started initially, we scrutinize far more that corporate or anyone, government gives me 1 rupee, then I should have impact of 2 rupees, which we know, we all studied, but we are not equally successful. So when you're investing in CSR, you're investing, to the families or the society which is already deficient. How do you think that 1 rupee you will have impact of 1.5 rupees? And then also, I'm saying some of the issues like instrument which is available, which is driving at least or pushing corporate to come to Bihar or many other places in the country, like you have the aspirational block program. Yesterday only I was facilitating that at least the IndusInd Bank and then the Polaris Foundation come together and work in Begusrai. They were coming. But what they are trying to benchmark, see, district magistrate, I'm sure that none of us are here, they can tell that they have, have the malnutrition point decrease from 50 to 35, which in your scientific interpretation is just not possible. But they are putting, say, I can see some of the NGO people here, and you put the same yardstick, no. Because they just have to input the data, and if you put that and you bring Tata Institute of Social Sciences to measure that, and you say that 50 percentage point of malnutrition in 1 year must reduce to 35, how can that be possible? So I think we as an NGO sector also put on far more scrutiny. Of course, you will have the region, but I'm saying ki when people from Bihar or Jharkhand are at a place, yesterday, Chatterjee sir was telling that those who started early, they are just 1 below the directors. So if you are 1 below the directors, we assume that you have charges, and as one of the solutions, you have to think and you have to tell them, I know law may not be in your favor, but at least 3 cycles, then you can think of some impact. It's just not possible that impact can happen in 6 months. So I think we need to be also fairly not very critical about us and look for the solution. Thank you.
Said. I totally agree with you. Mr. Hari wants to add something in it.
Yeah.
Please, sir.
And thank you CIMP for having me here. I'll touch base on a couple of more questions that you asked earlier as well, because I did not get the opportunity. So starting from whether we misunderstood the CSR, and there is in research there is called null hypothesis, where we said ki no, we really got it wrong. So I'm starting from there. So it was earlier that CSR is basically a vanilla product which is purely philanthropic. But now the CSR sector is also into transition phase, where it is actually a strategic value creation thing. So when we are talking about a strategic value creation, we are saying that we are working or trying to at least work or nurture those projects, programs, which are like sustainable and scalable. It's not like that you simply do some, work in some health sector or some education sector, and there is nobody asking whether what happened to that project. So now, funders, since we are Global Energy Alliance is from both sides. We are also a funder and we are also a fund seeker. Fundraisers, both sides. So we are like seeing the both side of the story. So this is the transition that is happening, and I'm sure most of us are mostly aware about that, that now CSR is not only about philanthropy, it's also about sustainability, it's also about scalability. Other thing, Madam, you asked about why collaboration is failing. So this is very important, and my colleagues has already highlighted what could be the regions, like Mr. Abhishek had highlighted that reporting part, or maybe dialogue between the collaborators, or maybe transparent reporting. These are a couple of things that may help in making a collaboration successful. And this is the one example, since we are practitioner also, and GAP mostly works in renewable energy sector. So we are here supporting, it's not exactly CSR, but since our money is philanthropic money, so it's kind of related to CSR. So we are here supporting the solar developer here who are actually into solarizing the enterprises. And we are here supporting around 37 solar developers in Bihar. What we are doing is we are providing them the app support. We have developed a digital app where they can generate the lead and track from starting to the finalization. We have also connected them for the credit linkages. We have also connected them with the big suppliers. So basically these many people, starting from technology to capital linkage, credit linkages, we are trying to see the whole value chain and trying to ensure that actually the aim is to kind of promote solarization and reduce the carbon emission. Whatever electricity that we are using is mostly thermal energy. So what we are trying to see whether we can change it or ensure the transition to the renewable energy. Third question, you also said about the community part. So we had one initiative called mini grids. So we had this initiative with Husk Power and Tata Power, where in the villages we established a 30 kilowatt solar power plant. And there, in a sustainable mode, those people where we say that government is selling your electricity ₹5 per unit, we sold that electricity with 3 to 4 times costlier than this, and still it was sustainable. People were buying, and this is done through the engagement. We went to the people and we said that, are you ready to pay ₹5 for 4 hours of electricity in your house, where you can use 4 electric bulbs? One is in your kitchen, one is in your for children's study, one is at your door so that you are safe. So there we were able to scale. So idea is that CSR is changing, we are aware, and now it's more of a strategic value creation which is sustainable and scalable. Thank you.
You want to add something?
Yes, I want to add. Has not spoken yet. So very interesting. Abhishek was talking about on many indicators we have done very well. How we could achieve those achievements. Government initiatives. I'm just giving example of community health worker initiative under NRHM, and later continued. We all know ASHA today. Where did it start? The Jamkhed story and the Gadchiroli story, many people may be knowing about it. It started from 40 villages in Gadchiroli, and maybe some corporate was funding it. And when we saw the results in those 40 villages, Chhattisgarh government took up first as Mitanin, State Health Resource Society, SHRC was started, and then after a lot of work with the government, it was accepted at the central level. Now the entire country have ASHA, and they are the forebearers of programs like HBNC and HBYC. Those initiatives have had impact now, which is being taken into cognizance by the UN, that India has done very well. Why I'm quoting this example is maybe our start is small, but our impact can be very, very great. And that's what my friend talked about, that it has to be multi-cycle. We cannot see within one cycle. There are capacity issues within NGOs also, and there are reporting issues, there are accounting issues, all those issues are there. But where are we aiming at? And mind you, I must say, you should read the story of what happened in Gadchiroli. Abhay Bang, when he and his wife Rani Bang went to work in those villages were not accepting his interventions. Why? Because women had some other issues. And Rani Bang had written a book, Kanosa. You should read that. That women were talking in the ears that I have this issue, which is a gynecological issue. First you treat me about that, then you talk about my child. So after the FCRA amendment and after the USAID decisions, NGO sector is within India, within Bihar, are also looking at CSR funding. That's why I keep talking about that the perspective with which those funding is coming is very, very important. And we have to keep those perspectives broader. We may be working in 10 villages. We have to abide by the compliances issues, but we have to create models which can be adopted by the government at the state level, at the national level, at the global level, and those models can be created by any CSR funding, by any NGOs working on the ground with the participation of community people. Thank you.
So we haven't heard you, please.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yes.
To sir, I will add it later. Just I want to give a different perspective. So, who is the world's richest man? Like right now, to our young audience. Elon Musk. Before that, Jeff Bezos. Before that? Before that? Before that? I want to go to a particular person. Bill Gates? Bill Gates was the world's richest person for a very long time. But I think he is not even top 5 right now. Why that? Why so? Is that his Windows is not selling? Is it? No. He is more into philanthropy right now. Okay, so most of his wealth is going into that. And there are more other things in that, but I want to go with this philanthropy. So how philanthropy is different from CSR? So CSR is like they have a triple bottom line: profit, people, and then planet. Okay, so this is their perspective for CSR. Okay, right. Now coming back to Ejaz sir, when he mentioned that Jharkhand and Odisha, these government are getting funded more from the CSR. This may be because they have very good number of industries and a lot of funding and a lot of profit with them, so they are funding a lot. But I think at this point of time, we are lacking behind with other states. Like we need lot number of industries in our state, and this can be resolved with BEDA as well. Okay, so one example sir also gave about nano. So I don't know how it failed, but some or the other point of time, it was not forced from the CSIR, but it came out of philanthropy. So this is how it is differed. And when these two things get to tends towards null, then only it will be fruitful. Otherwise, it will be only the evaluation and funding. So I hope this will make a turning point.
Definitely. The question which you were actually asking, and Senapati sir has instructed you to, or maybe requested you to ask in the panel discussion. So I really want you to ask the question from Anand, and then we will move to the last segment. So you got the answer?
Actually, when we talk about failure of CSR, like we had a lot of discussion. So we should not go into the darker side of anything. We must have to be optimistic always. This is the pessimistic side only. Suppose government has motivated 1,000 startups. The failure rate of a startup in India, or I can say in world, is nearly 80%. So if 1,000 startups starts their activities, 800 startups get fail. So only 200 startups get success. So if out of those 1,000 startups, if only one startup becomes unicorn, that is achievement. So in the same way, if 1,000 of NGOs, 1,000 of such type of instruments are working, if 90% is getting fail and 10% becomes success, society will achieve something. CSR is not to change society alone. There are many instruments like government schemes, many big organizations, institutions, many instruments are there. CSR is very small instrument out of those. So if 10% is goal set by CSR achieved, it is a great achievement. If in a remote village where there is no schools, no coaching facility, nothing is available, and any NGO reached there and he could educated 3 students, only 3 students in a year, that is achievement. So CSR is meant for such achievement, not for success or failure.
Okay, thank you so much. So as we are actually...
May I add?
Please.
Since we work closely with BIADA for promoting renewable energy, so I just have a couple of ideas. One is that if BIADA can also start asking for if they are doing some CSR. It's not compulsory, it's not mandatory, but at least incentivizing or maybe motivating them कि अगर आप ऐसा कुछ कर रहे हैं तो आप हमें बताएं और मे बी कुछ इंसेंटिव प्लान भी कर सकते हैं. दैट इज़ नंबर 1. नंबर 2, सिंस एवरीथिंग इज़ फॉर कम्युनिटी, जहाँ पे भी बियाडा का डिफरेंट डिस्ट्रिक्ट में क्लस्टर्स हैं, वहाँ पे लोकल कम्युनिटी की कुछ रिक्वायरमेंट हो सकती है, कुछ CSR की रिक्वायरमेंट हो सकती है. अगर वो इंडिविजुअली शायद एक यूनिट के लिए करना मुश्किल हो, बट बहुत सारी यूनिट मिलकर अगर बियाडा इनिशिएटिव ले कि अगर बहुत सारी यूनिट छोटा छोटा कंट्रीब्यूशन करके भी एक इनिशिएटिव शुरू कर सकती हो, एजुकेशन हेल्थ से किसी भी से रिलेटेड हो सकता है, तो मे बी बियाडा टीम कंसिडर समथिंग लाइक दैट. जस्ट अ सजेशन.